Sahih al-Bukhari 2421. Narrated Aisha. Abu bin Zameh and Sa'd bin Abi Waqqas carried the case of their claim of the ownership of the son of a slave girl of Zama before the Prophet. Sa'd said, O Allah's Messenger, my brother, before his death, told me that when I would return to Mecca, I should search for the son of the slave girl of Zameh and take him into my custody as he was his son. Abu bin Zameh said, he is my brother and the son of the slave girl of my father, and was born on my father's bed. The Prophet noticed a resemblance between Utbah and the boy, but he said, O Abu bin Zameh, you will get this boy, as the son goes to the owner of the bed. You, Sauda, screen yourself from the boy. Sahih al-Bukhari 2422. Narrated Abu Huraira. Allah's Messenger sent horsemen to Najd, and they arrested and brought a man called Thumamah bin Athal, the chief of Yamamah, and they fastened him to one of the pillars of the mosque. When Allah's apostle came up to him, he asked, What have you to say, O Thumamah? He replied, I have good news, O Muhammad. Abu Huraira narrated the whole narration, which ended with the order of the Prophet, release him. Sahih al-Bukhari 2423. Narrated Abu Huraira. The Prophet sent some horsemen to Najd, and they arrested and brought a man called Thumamah bin Athal from the tribe of Bani Hanifa, and they fastened him to one of the pillars of the mosque. Sahih al-Bukhari 2424. Narrated Abdullah bin Kabi bin Malik al-Ansari from Kabi bin Malik. That Abdullah bin Abi Hadrad al-Islami owed him some debt. Kabi met him and caught hold of him, and they started talking, and their voices grew loudest. The Prophet passed by them and addressed Kabi, pointing out to him to reduce the debt to one half. So, Kabi got one half of the debt and exempted the debtor from the other half. Sahih al-Bukhari 2425. Narrated Kababab. I was a blacksmith in the pre-Islamic period of ignorance, and Asi bin Wale owed me some money. I went to him to demand it, but he said to me, I will not pay you unless you reject faith in Muhammad. I replied, By Allah, I will never disbelieve Muhammad till Allah let you die and then resurrect you. He said, Then wait till I die and come to life again, for then I will be given property and offspring and will pay your right. So, thus revelation came, have you seen him who disbelieved in our signs and yet says, I will be given property and offspring? 19.77. Sahih al-Bukhari 2426. Narrated Ubay bin Kabi. I found a purse containing 100 dinars. So I went to the Prophet and informed him about it. He said, Make public announcement about it for 1 year. I did so, but nobody turned up to claim it. So I again went to the Prophet, who said, Make public announcement for another year. I did, but none turned up to claim it. I went to him for the third time, and he said, Keep the container and the string which is used for its tying and count the money it contains, and if its owner comes, give it to him, otherwise, utilize it. The sub-narrator Salama said, I met him, Suwaid, another sub-narrator, in Mecca, and he said, I don't know whether Ubay made the announcement for 3 years or just 1 year. Sahih al-Bukhari 2427. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid al-Yuhani. A Bedouin went to the Prophet and asked him about picking up a lost thing. The Prophet said, Make public announcement about it for 1 year. Remember the description of its container and the string with which it is tied, and if somebody comes and claims it and describes it correctly, give it to him, otherwise, utilize it. He said, O Allah's Messenger, what about a lost sheep? The Prophet said, It is for you, for your brother, i.e. its owner, or for the wolf. He further asked, What about a lost camel? On that the face of the Prophet became red with anger and said, You have nothing to do with it, as it has its feet, its water reserve, and can reach places of water and drink, and eat trees. Sahih al-Bukhari 2428. Narrated Sulayman bin Bilal from Yahya. Yazid Mala al-Munbith heard Zayd bin Khalid al-Juwam saying, The Prophet was asked about Lakata. He said, Remember the description of its container and the string it is tied with, and announce it publicly for 1 year. Yazid added, If nobody claims, then the person who has found it can spend it, and it is regarded as a trust entrusted to him. Yahya said, I do not know whether the last sentences were said by the Prophet or by Yazid. Zayd further said, The Prophet was asked, What about a lost sheep? The Prophet said, "Take it, for it is for you or for your brother, i.e. its owner, or for the wolf." Yazid added that it should also be announced publicly. The man then asked the Prophet about a lost camel. The Prophet said, "Leave it, as it has its feet, water container, reservoir, and it will reach a place of water and eat trees till its owner finds it." Sahih al-Bukhari 2429. Narrated Zayd bin Khalid. A man came and asked Allah's Messenger about picking a lost thing. The Prophet said, "Remember the description of its container and the string it is tied with, and make public announcement about it for 1 year. If the owner shows up, give it to him, otherwise, do whatever you like with it." He then asked, "What about a lost sheep?" The Prophet said, "It is for you, for your brother, i.e. its owner, or for the wolf." He further asked, "What about a lost camel?" The Prophet said, "It is none of your concern. It has its water container, reservoir, and its feet, and it will reach water and drink it and eat the trees till its owner finds it." Sahih al-Bukhari 2430. Narrated Abdurrahman bin Hermaz. Abu Huraira, R.A., said, Allah's Messenger mentioned an Israeli man. Abu Huraira then told the whole narration. At the end of the narration it was mentioned that the creditor went out to the sea, hoping that a boat might have brought his money. Suddenly he saw a piece of wood and he took it to his house to use as firewood. When he sought it, he found his money and a letter in it.